Hi folks, welcome to our second video where we're looking at the design of the blockbot using Tinkercad. In the first video you learned how to draw the head and the body and how to put those holes through the body for the string and how to put a hole in the head and in the body for the piece of dowel. In this video I'm going to show you how to add the hands and the feet, and the good news there is we only have to draw it once because they're all the same size and shape. Okay, I'm just going to delete the ones that you can see there already, and then I'm going to crack on and show you how to draw those. Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to set up my work plane. Remember, the work plane is the surface that you're drawing your part of your model on, and I want to draw the hand on the side of the blockbot. So I'm going to click on my work plane tool and I'm going to drag that onto the side of the blockbot there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag my box tool onto that work plane. Don't worry too much about where you're putting it because we're going to position it in a minute. Then the next thing we're going to do, like we did before, we're going to use these handles and we're going to make this the right size. So the first thing I want is a height there of 25 millimeters. So I'm going to enter that. Then the depth I want to be 20, which it is already. And then the width, which is this measurement here, I want that to be 15 millimeters. So my blockbot is now the right shape, but it's not in the right place. So I'm going to click on the right view on the view cube, and then I'm just going to use the arrow keys just to nudge that across. Okay, now you might find that with your snap grid here, if that's set to 1 millimeter, which is the default on Tinkercad, you might find you can't quite get it to go in the middle. So what you can do on the snap grid is just change that maybe down to something like 0.5 millimeter. If you want to, you can nudge it down a bit, but don't go too far because we don't want to cover this hole at the bottom, which is where the string for the feet is going to come out. Okay, so you can see the hand is in place. Now that's going to need a hole going all the way through it because obviously we need the string to go through and tie that on. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the top of that hand as my work plane. So I clicked on my work plane tool. I am now going to select the top of the hand, and then I'm going to use the cylinder. You can use the cylinder hole. I'm going to use the cylinder, and I'm going to show you how you can then switch that to be a hole if you don't know that already. So I'm going to click and drag my cylinder in. And don't worry about where you're positioning it for now because we're going to position it in a moment. Okay, you might remember from the first video the holes that we did were 8 millimeters in diameter, so we're going to do this one the same size. I'm going to click on the little handle there and I'm going to change these two measurements to 8 millimeters. So I'm going to click on those and change those both to 8 millimeters. Okay, so there is my cylinder so far. Now I want that cylinder to be a bit bigger in terms of its height. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to click on this here. Now I'm going to make it 40 because I want to make sure it's long enough to go all the way through. And then you might remember we did this in the other video. I'm going to use this cone at the top of the cylinder. I'm going to click and drag and I'm just going to push my cylinder so you can see it going through the top and bottom of the hand. Okay, I'm now going to position that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to click on the top view, and that's going to look straight down on top of my work plane. And then again, with the arrow keys, I am going to nudge that into place so that that looks like it is halfway from top to bottom. You can zoom in, remember, using this tool here. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to get that lined up to where I think is halfway. I think that will do us there. Okay, I'm then going to scroll out with my mouse wheel, or you can use the zoom out button over there and right click just so that we're seeing that back like that. Now I want to click and drag over the hand and the cylinder, not body. You don't have to click and drag over the whole object, just part of it. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click and drag over part of the cylinder. Oh, hang on a minute, I haven't changed it to a hole. I need to click on the cylinder, and over here you'll see it's where you set whether it is a solid or whether it is a hole. So I need to click on hole. That's now back over here. I need to click and drag over part of the cylinder and part of the hand. So I've got both of those selected, and then I'm going to use the group tool just like that. You can see then what we've got is a hand with a hole that goes all the way through. Okay, we can see right through it there. Good enough. I'm just going to zoom out. Now what I'm going to show you is how to duplicate that and how to rotate it through 90 degrees so that we can use that as a foot. Okay, so all we need to do is, with our object selected, Control D on the keyboard, and then if I click and drag that, you'll now see I have got two of them. Okay, I'm just going to zoom in on that. Now what I want you to see is around the edge there are these little curved lines, and what they give me is this little protractor so I can rotate it in different ways. I want to use this one here. I'm going to click and drag on that, just going to zoom out a bit so I can see that measurement, and I'm going to type in 90 degrees. And that, when I enter it, is going to turn that through 90 degrees. So I've now got a hand and a foot, and the foot has turned around. Then what you can do is you can position that using the cone on the top to raise it up or down. And obviously you can then have a look at the front view there. Let's just have a look at the front view. Let's position that down so that it lines up with the bottom of my block bot, and I'm going to use the arrow keys just to shove that in a bit there. I'm not going to go right up against the body. Okay, now you can, if you want to, you can use the align tool, remember, to make sure that the bottom of the foot and the bottom of the block bot are perfectly aligned. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at that. Okay, so we can line those up perfectly if we want to, using the align tool, or you can just do it using the arrow keys. Okay, or in this case we're going to use the little cone just to drag that down. There we go. So I think that looks pretty much aligned there. Okay, so that's how to add a hand and a body. Once you've done that, what you can then do is duplicate them again, and you can move them across to the other side. Now, the other thing you might remember is at the start when I showed you this, my hands and feet were different colors. Okay, I'm just going to move that back a little bit. That looks a bit too far out. Let's move that back there so that that looks like it's part of the block bot. Okay, so my hands and feet were different colors. I'm just going to show you how you can do that. When you click on an object up here where it says solid, if you click on the solid, you've got this color palette that you can choose from. So I'm going to choose what color. I'm going to give him a blue hand, and I'm going to click on the foot, and I'm going to give him a green foot. Okay, so that's how to add a hand and a foot. You can have a go at doing that, and then have a go at duplicating them and moving them across to the other side. There you go.